to have everybody here for our weekly Wednesday webinar at Breakthrough RE. I have been so looking forward to today, and you guys are in for such an amazing treat because we have an extraordinary panel today. It's going to be lots of fun. Okay, so before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. If you are going to chat, make sure that you've got it set to everyone and not to host and panelists, because everyone won't be able to see your amazing comments, and watching our comments as always, because, you know, I get wrapped up in things, is going to be our extraordinary, I always love this, she's amazing, our extraordinary director of operations, that is Robin Keeley. Say hi, Robin.
Hi, everyone.
Yay, we love our Robin. Okay, so before we kind of get into the premise, we got a lot of new people on with us today. So I am so excited about that. So I just want to introduce myself, if I can do that. That'd be okay with you guys? Okay. So my name is Cole Finley, and I am a business performance and transformational coach and trainer, as well as the owner of Finley RE Coaching and Consulting. I have been a realtor since 2009. I was Rookie of the Year my very first year in real estate, sold 36 transactions my first year. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was kind of busy and crazy. I am a former Keller Williams CEO and team leader. I am a neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. That's a lot to say in one word. I'm an instructional designer for over 25 years, and I've been a course creator, trainer, coach, long time. I'm a training geek. Most of you guys know that. And I'm also the chief architect of our Breakthrough RE Facebook group, as well as our 12 Weeks to Breakthrough program. Okay. Let's talk about today. Here is the premise. Here's the premise. Imagine that you are at a restaurant, and sitting over at a nearby table are four of the top agents in your area. Like, these are people you look up to, you see their names everywhere, you've seen their signs everywhere you go. Oh, is that them? You get a little starstruck. Okay, so they're over there talking, just kind of talking business and the industry and the market and all that kind of stuff. And you just start leaning in and eavesdropping on their conversation. Well, that is what we are going to do today. So you are basically going to eavesdrop on these top four amazing agents, and you just going to listen to what they say. Now, here's the thing. I'll guarantee you there's going to be some good nuggets coming out. So here's what you want to do. You want to make sure you grab a pen and some paper so you can take wonderful notes. Want to make sure that you grab some goodness. They're going to talk. I'm not even going to be around. They're just going to hang out. They're going to talk for a while. Then we're going to be coming back about 10 minutes till. If you've got questions, we go ahead and put them in the chat, but we're going to kind of hold off till the end and maybe review some of those questions at that time. So this is really all about just listening and leaning in to these guys, and just, there's going to be good stuff, I promise. So I want to introduce, now there's four of them, and I'm going to read four bios because they all deserve their moment. So I want to make sure that I'm sharing that, and then we'll get started. So the very first person, and I'm really excited about her because she is actually one of our coaches. So this is Tai Nguyen. By the way, she's a $40 million producer. She is an award-winning real estate broker, investor, and coach and visionary. She has sold $375 million in real estate sales in her 20-year career in real estate. She is a team rainmaker, a business and performance coach, a real estate investing expert. Yes, she is. And a lot of you guys who are watching, you know that. And she is a loving wife and adoring mother to her 3 children. Our next wonderful, wonderful person. Let me find him. There you are, Lance. Sorry about that. I hope you didn't get dizzy. This is Lance Welsh. And Lance began his real estate career as a buyer's agent. In 2020, he branched out as a solo agent to further his career, and his business tripled. Love that. In 2021, this is so extraordinary. Lance was diagnosed with cancer, and while battling cancer, he closed 81 units at just over 22 million. Extraordinary. Now he is in remission right now. Yay. And he's on track to do the same, even during the shift in a market this year. Lance will be the 2023 president of the Permian Basin Board of Realtors in Texas. And in 2003, he will be building a team with the goal of 100 units. And I think he's going to get there for sure. All right, next we have Jacob Weaver. Jacob is a $40 million producer. He is the co-founder of the Weaver Burn Group with EXP. Early in his career, he built a foundation in deal making through wholesaling, owner financing, lease option, and subject to transactions. The Weaver Burn Group currently works with developers and builders supporting the construction and sales of new luxury homes and developmental sites. And then Jacob's multifaceted background and experience make him a well-positioned voice and leader to the currently challenging market. And of course, last but never least, we have Julie Clark with us. And I know a lot of you guys on this call know Julie. She is amazing. She is a $10 million producer. And Julie is a real estate broker with over 20 years of experience in both residential and multifamily. Now, here's a kicker. Julie is the founder of the Seattle Investors Club. That's a real estate investment club whose members include investors, brokers, lenders focused on investment properties. And she is also the founder of the VIP Education Community, a broker coaching community where she teaches other brokers skills beyond traditional real estate transactions that will help them thrive in any market. Oh my gosh. Let me come on in, guys. Let me introduce you to our extraordinary panel. Come on in and say hi, everybody. Hey,
everybody.
hey.
Hello.
Oh, I am so
Hello.
glad you guys are here. So Ty, wave. There's Ty. Julie, say hi, wave. There's Julie. She's extraordinary. Lance, say hi, wave.
Hello.
And last but never least, Jacob, say hi, wave.
Hey there.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you so much for taking part in this today. We really, really appreciate, you taking times out of your very busy schedule for all of our people here at Breakthrough RE. Okay. You're all at lunch right now. You're all sitting at your table. All right, I'm going to start us off with one question and then I'm going to leave and I'm going to let you guys kind of take it from there. Is that okay? All
Sounds
right.
great.
So,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Ty and Julie, you guys are both on mute. So I'll make sure we come off there. Okay. So here's the question for you guys. Are we in a shift? Discuss.
Okay. Are we in a ship? Most definitely. We are definitely in a ship. What do you guys think? Most definitely.
Oh, yeah. Ours really came to head July this year.
July, okay.
Mhm.
Well, actually, this is interesting. I know that there's three of us in the Pacific Northwest here. Lance, maybe you can just lay some background on what that shift is looking like in your market, because I know that there's pockets throughout the United States that are feeling it differently in different asset classes and subsets and price points. So I would love to know like what's going on over in Texas and your area of the world. Certainly helpful to get some background on what's going on over there.
Cool. So over here, I'm in West Texas. And of course, as all of y'all know, Texas, it takes like 10, 12 hours to get across the whole thing. So there's a lot of different markets around here, specifically over here in West Texas. I've got a coach as well. And one of the things that she always talks to me about, she goes, hey, I'm seeing this in my market. And I go, I'm the complete opposite. We're very, very oil field based here. So we're really directly affected on the price of oil. So we watch that, we watch rig count, we watch all that kind of stuff. That's why I've kind of gotten more into relocation, mainly because I wanted to see what type of businesses are moving people in and where they're moving out to. Going across over there into Houston, Dallas, we've got some that are heading up there into Colorado and everything. But as far as the shift for us here, I know a lot of people I talk to in different bigger markets, 600 to 700 homes on the market is like, oh my gosh, we have no inventory. 600 to 700 homes on the market for us is a guaranteed anywhere between 50 to 70 days on market. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking at there.
Mhm.
So really what we went all the way from, we'll call it January through June, we saw that little uptick in some of the houses on the market. And then in July is when it hit that 600 and we go, okay, we're in, right? So a few months of that, before that, we were dealing with multiple offers. We were dealing with, some of the crazy fun stuff that I'm sure all of y'all dealt with. But for us in July is when we saw that, and especially with the rise in interest rates, everybody kind of took the foot off the gas for just a minute. And it seems like every time the Fed, it seems like every other week at this point.
Yeah.
Seems like every time the Fed does something, everybody goes, hold on, takes a collective breath. And then a week or two later, they start getting back in the game. So that's kind of where we're at. We're at about 650 on the market right now, as of yesterday. And so that's kind of how we're sitting there. So as long as oil still continues to hover around 80 or so, we're looking pretty good.
Nice. What I've seen on the market when we are putting a house on the market, the conversation is very different when we are speaking to the sellers and also the buyers. And so when we put a house on the market, really we're talking about let's price it to sell immediately versus testing the market the way we used to, right? And once we position it right, we're getting 3 to 4 offers still. And that just tells me that there's still buyers out there that are ready, willing to buy. It's the conversation that we need to have with the sellers to let them know that this is not the right time to test the market. We have to put it out at a very discount price. And what does that look like to them? How much are they willing to come out of the sale immediately on day one versus let's sit on the market for 3 months and figure out what the next step looks like. I think that's one. The second one is if they have a certain number set, then you have to work them and let them know that that number may not be realistic and they need to be prepared for a price reduction every 25 days. I would say not 30, but every 25 days, depending on the activity of the property. And just having that conversation. And I think what agents need to understand right now is you can't just put a house on the market and just sit there and wait. You have to have an action plan in place. And, going back during, the recession about 10, 12 years ago, right? In 2007, 2006, we had a plan where when we were every week on Tuesday is a market review. We have a whole entire report written, right? Monday, we go in, we write a report about, okay, how many showings did we have? The feedbacks that we're getting, their house, the position, what other house went on the market, what other homes went pending, having that conversation with them every Tuesday as a market update and let them know that 30 days is still too soon to get an offer if that's the number that they want. You kind of have to sit pretty and, hold yourself tight for a while and not get too antsy about, okay, why don't we have an offer? It's been 2 weeks, right? The market has changed and agent strategy needs to change. And I think that's the gap right now, that the younger generation who's come on the market, maybe 2-3 years ago, they're used to getting offer right away. And when they don't, they call the seller and they're like, hey, we need a price reduction. That's the only solution they're giving. And so it creates urgency for everybody else, right? Because if that house goes down in price, then I have to bring down that price of my listing, or I have to let my seller know like they are panicking, let them sell first. We will pick up the next in line, right? What do you guys think?
I feel like the whole core of what you're saying, if I can distill down a little bit from kind of a huge takeaway that I feel like is a good reminder for everybody, like really like the change in market and the differentiator between brokers, right? The ones that are just panic dropping price and the ones that have a strategic plan ahead of time. Like really it comes down to like how good of a communicator are you in general, right? We should all be good at negotiating and all that, but like you said, the last couple of years, like that has not been the case. There's been a lot of ability to just put things on the market with halfway decent photos and pick an offer out of the pile. And so the skill set of being a really, really good communicator to your clients, to other brokers, I feel like that is like the core of what you're saying, right? It's like if you can lay out expectations, if you can communicate them clearly, if you can proactively be participating in the listing that's happening, it goes a long way, right? Just communicating with your seller and being able to get the price drops or the change of terms that you're going to need to move the property. It's crucial. Like we all need to step up our game and become that communicator that is like the best in our market, right?
I want to build upon that because what you guys have touched upon is exactly right. So definitely what I'm doing and coaching all the brokers that I talk to as well is that you need to, first of all, nobody likes to be the bad guy as the agent and say, hey, you got to drop your price, right? Then they get mad at you, right? Even if you're right. So the issue I see is that we've lost the predictability and stability of the market. Okay. Predictability being a good one. Right now, what I'm doing is I am involving the homeowners, the sellers in the process much more than I used to, as far as educating them ahead of time and involving them in the plan, such as, for example, I think depending on the brokers and the situation of sellers, things can come on the market all over the place. The prices can be high, they can be low, people can be panicking, they could be testing the market. We don't know. So what I'm doing is telling the sellers like, hey, active listings, when they come on the market right now, they're not data points because we don't know if they're high, low, we don't know the situation of these sellers. So what we need to do is we need to go on at what we think is the best price that's acceptable to you with a game plan and a backup plan, maybe to offer an incentive to sellers. That might be helping them with their closing costs or buying down their rate. But more so what I do is I want to take the heat off myself and I want to take the heat off the brokers that I'm talking to, help them as well. And I'm involving the sellers and saying, hey, when we're going to list your house for sale, I'd like to go out. Normally how we would do with buyers, I'm saying to the sellers, let's go tour all the homes on the market that are in your playing field. You know your home best. You know what the attributes of your home are, the neighborhood better than anybody else. And what we want to do, since we don't know where these things are being priced, if they're good, bad, middle, panicked, or what's going on, we want an opportunity to get in there and see that home together. So when that home, if that home takes an offer before we do, we have an understanding of how you compare. And I've had great success with this, and some of the brokers that I coach have had great success with this, where the sellers actually ask for the price drop themselves. It takes the heat off of you. So anytime something new comes on the market, let's go look at it. So we know how to react when that home, if that home takes an offer before you do. If they say, I don't want to do that, I don't have time, well, you've given them the opportunity to participate. And if they don't want to participate, then it kind of takes the heat off you, right? A little bit. You guys see what I'm saying? I'm trying to set you up for easy conversations and having the sellers actually participate in the adjustments that might need to happen. We don't need to wimp out, and it's hard to necessarily dictate what your list price needs to be if prices are going to be all over the place, right? We really, really need to pay attention to those comps and involve the sellers in those discussions. That's how I think I'm handling it.
You know what's funny? Back in the recession, when I used to cold call, I used to call all the expireds and the cancels back then. And the number one reason why I got the listing appointment and I was able to sell their property after it was canceled or expired was because their listing agent never called them after 45 days on the market. Okay, because they don't have a strategy in place. And 9 out of 10, I'll go to the listing appointment and I'll get the listing because I will show them my Tuesday update report. not once have I not delivered on a Tuesday market update, right? If it doesn't sell, I get on the phone, even if there's no news, right? Even though there's no news to tell them, it's like, hey, it's Tuesday, nothing happened. Just want to let you know, I got my eye on the ball. Everything's going, okay right now. If there is any activity, I'm going to call you within that week. But if you don't hear from me, I'll call you back next Tuesday, right? So they're not sitting there like, does Ty care? Does my agent care, right?
Yeah.
And those expired and canceled phone calls that I made, I sold every single one and picked up, I think that year, just cold calling, I picked up 9 listings, right? 9 sides, and
That's
then they
great.
went to go buy
Yeah.
as well. And we had the conversation of like, okay, let's sell your place, buy a smaller property, and then buy a rental as well. Or if I can't sell your house, I'll help you rent it out for free. Like give them a solution, give them some kind of solution. If I can't sell my house, what's going to happen? And majority of the conversation agents have, they don't have a solution, right? And so what I say is like, hey, if we can't sell your house in 3 months, I'm going to help you rent it out for free. And then we'll go buy you something else, right? We'll take a line of credit out of there. We'll rent it out. Now you have a rental property. We'll downsize you for a bit, get you something smaller, something cheaper in a little bit further out. And then in 2 years, we'll rent that one out and buy you your dream house when the market changes, right? So I think listening to your client and finding a solution of what their needs are in the get-go is so important. Not everybody wants the highest price right away. Some people have different aspirations. They want to move out of state. I don't know what that looks like, but I think having those conversations and understanding their needs first, and then creating a game plan for them. I think that's what's missing.
There's something that I take out of every single one of y'all of what you've said so far, and it goes back. It hasn't been this exact word, but I've heard it from every single one of you about being relationship based. I think so many times, especially in some type of market shift, we start as a group kind of looking at everything and going, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? What do I need to change? What do I need to do better? And that's all great. However, going with a solution-based and a relationship-based approach, I think is what a lot of these clients are looking for, because they're not calling you just because they want to sell their house because they feel like it, right? There's a reason, So are they getting relocated to another town? Is the house just too much for them and they need to downsize? They might be a little bit older. Did they just lose a job? That's something that we faced a bunch back in 2020 and even last year, right? Do they have a health thing pop up and they can't afford their mortgage anymore? What's going on? Is their kid going to college and they want to follow them? What's the reason behind you wanting to sell? Okay, great. Now that we've got that, here's the data on what I'm seeing from our market analysis. Here's what I've been seeing over the past 3-6 months. And in some cases, even in my market, we have to go just a single month. It's rapidly changing. But going in there and asking those questions, getting to know this potential client and turning them into what I would consider a friend, right? I would love to say that every single client is my friend. That's not the fact. That's just not the case. I'd love that.
You seem pretty friendly, Lance. We just met, but
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, but if we can build that relationship with them and quit chasing the sell, right? Then you actually are able to put in place your system that you're talking about. I love these systems that you guys are talking about going and having a look at their competition, not just the pictures on the internet. That's awesome. It puts them in their face. It lets them see exactly what's going on, right? This house is a lot more cluttered than this other house, but it's the same floor plan. Well, I'm going to pay less for this house than I am this other house that's nice and pretty, right?
But you can't see what's going on with the neighbors. You can't see,
Exactly.
what's going on just by some
Strange
photos.
layouts, low basement ceilings, all that.
I've also started to look more closely when I'm looking at the comps on trying to pull their seller disclosure information. to see if there's anything going on with the property that I might not know about on why it's priced a certain way and things like that, right? I'm used to not really look at, when I'm looking at comps, look at, pull and look at those, but because prices are all over the place today. Like I said, there's, until they take an offer, they're not really a data point to base a decision off of, or you're going to confuse yourself and you're going to be scattered all over the place with wondering what the heck's going on. Good stuff here, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, so we've talked a lot about sellers, and like, working with them and managing expectations, communicating. For me personally, and coming from the investment side of real estate, I know, Julie, we've talked about this before, but I love the buy side. I love the buy side because especially in a market like now, like I cut my teeth early on all the deals that nobody else would touch, right? All the weird things that flippers would pass on, weren't buy and hold deals, they couldn't go on the market. I would take all the leftovers that nobody else knew how to figure out, and that's what I did, right? That was the arbitrage in the market at the time for me and my skill set. It's like, go do all the transactions that are too out of the box for most people to care about. So for me in this market that like there is shifts happening, there's volatility, like all of these new solutions are now available again, just like they were when I was kind of getting started between 2012 and 2017. So for me, I want to know what you guys are doing on the buy side, because I just see like endless opportunity can always write low offers, right? Can always write low offers, just write it up. But what kind of messaging are you using to get buyers back into the market? Because what I'm seeing is there's a lot of brokers who, especially now during the holidays, have pretty much just like turned off their effort for like the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So like, what messaging are you guys using to generate new buyers that are not other brokers' buyers? Does that make sense? Like, how are you getting more buyers into the market? What messaging and what strategies are you guys using?
I was going to say, before we skip on that, I want to talk about that, but I want to say one last thing about if you're working with sellers. I think it's important for all of us to educate buyers and buyers agents as well, because what's going on is smart brokers are not saying, hey, just drop your price. They know that actually using that $15,000 or $20,000 in a price drop is actually better used to maybe buy down the interest rate of a buyer. But if you guys follow what I'm saying, because I'll call it my buy down to buy up program, okay? And that means that the seller is going to take whatever flexibility you've talked to them with in the beginning on their price, because we're educating there needs to be some flexibility. Instead of dropping the price, let's offer $15,000, $20,000 to buy down the rate. Sorry to go back to the sellers for a second, but it kind of goes hand in hand here. And so the problem is we have lots of agents who have all these buyers that think they're now priced out, or they don't like what they can buy with size, location, or finishes because interest rates went up. They feel like they've been knocked down a little bit. And so what needs to happen is we need all buyers agents, including ourselves, to start their searches higher, because we're not necessarily dropping the price on our marketing. We're instead saying, hey, there's $15,000 or $20,000 available to buy down this rate. And if you're a buyer's agent and you have not bumped up your search criteria, you're going to miss those opportunities. For example, I have a property, let's just say it's listed at $695. And we are offering $15,000. Somebody searching up to $660 or $675 is going to miss that. But because we're offering a $15,000 buy down, that $660 buyer can actually buy a $695 property that gets their size, location, and finishes better. So all of us as buyers agents, that's how Jacob made me think of this, need to increase our search criteria, not only to capture properties that are sitting on the market we can lowball, but better off to capture properties that are sitting on the market that are offering in their marketing comments that you'll miss otherwise, these buy down rates. Okay. You guys follow what I'm saying on that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did that on one property recently was sitting on the market at what I thought was our top price. Okay. And as soon as within a week, I'd say, of offering the seller buy down to permanently buy down the rate, we had an offer, and it is exactly that type of buyer. It is a buyer who is allowing us to buy their rate down so they can buy up, right? Boom.
Yeah. Yeah. And to tailgate after that, and then we'll go over the buyers. I have a secret. I don't know if you guys know the secret. This is my
Tell us.
secret. Okay.
Be honest.
I don't know if it happened. You have this in Texas, right? You're in Texas or Florida?
Texas.
Texas. Okay. So here's my secret. Okay. Ready? You go on the Northwest MLS, right? Or your MLS, and there is a reverse prospecting, right? Reverse.
Yep.
So you go in there and you pull the list of every single agent who has a client looking in your area for that particular home, right? And you call them, because 9 out of 10, those agents aren't even looking at their systems, that their client saw a house. So you're here helping them sell the damn house, right? And then so you call them and you say, hey, listen, my client's willing to give a $25,000 or $10,000 concession to buy down that rate and get your clients from this payment to this payment. Call me. We'll make it happen for you.
Not
That's
only
awesome.
that, the smart lenders are also, if there's like mortgage insurance, what I just had one do on another is they took part of my buy down of the rate, and instead what they did is they made a one-time payment to buy off the mortgage insurance, which saved several $100s per month on the payment. So it's really important to be, I know we all love our lenders, but unfortunately in markets like this, they're not all created the same. Even the ones that you love the most might not have the best rates or the best programs right now. And it's time to network with lenders so you know who's offering what. And that can change weekly, monthly, as we saw, during COVID. Some lenders started increasing their spreads. Some, they're built differently. Not all lenders are built the same, not even your favorite ones, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
So,
what you need to do is, like I said, you got to tap into that agent, right? When you do the reverse prospecting, you call that agent because they are the gatekeeper to their client, not the lender. In my opinion, right?
yeah.
And so a lot
But the
of
lender
agents,
solves the problem, right? It's
right,
like that's the match, right?
Right. And what I'm trying to say is that these agents that are so young and new, they do not know how to have a conversation with their client, and you're helping that agent create that conversation to say, hey, this payment is going to work. This is a great property. If we can get the rates to go from 6.5 to 4.25, right? For 2 years. So that's my take on that.
The other thing I love about
I
the
know.
reverse prospecting list.
Yeah, no one does it.
Like,
I'm
it's
the only
surprising.
one.
It's surprising. Hey, we are.
Oh, you
Not
okay?
anymore.
Okay, we're the only two. We're the
Uh,
only two then.
What's beautiful is that you could take that conversation. And like you said, like most of the time, they're not expecting a call from you. Most of the time, they have no idea that their system sent it out to their client. Sometimes they haven't talked to that client. It gives them a reason to like reconnect with them. But the other thing is,
you're
like, if you
helping
just,
them.
you're helping them. And if they have a client, like, it's never a wasted call, right? Because
Oh.
I always pivot the conversation, always, every time. It's like, oh yeah, that buyer's not looking anymore. Great. What else are you looking for? Right? It's like, you're not necessarily calling just for that one prospect. The way I see our business, it's all just a spider web, right? It's like on the top, you got buyers, and on the bottom, you got sellers, and you're just matching, right? So if you can have a conversation with a broker and hit it off with them, like, hey, yeah, we've got this, this townhouse for sale. Great. That buyer's not looking. They probably have 1 or 2 or 5 other people that are looking for something else. And now you got like 5 conversations or 5 potential options to cross-sell. I love cross-selling, right? That's the nature of this business. Like, you don't need that one conversation to match your one need. But if you all of a sudden you've got 25 agents you've talked to in the last week, it's like all of a sudden you just start seeing pairs all over the place. Like, oh, I could I could put this deal together there. I could refer that here, or I could, do a joint venture. I know a flipper who's got a product coming up that would be perfect for that person, right? If you get enough of those, then it starts to get like kind of wild and how you can start pairing the conversation. So
Yeah.
the reverse prospecting list is like the perfect starting point
Mhm.
to like break open that spider web of deals.
Yeah. Just helping each other out, I think we're one team and we need to support each other and have those conversation. And, how can the four of us, right? You, the
Mhm.
seller, the buyer, and the buyer's agent, like how can the four of us come together and make this deal happen for the client? It's not about us.
I have a
It's about our client.
transition for you guys into a conversation I know that you guys are gonna love. I feel is the transition. One of the things, building upon the reverse prospecting, it's an opportunity to say to that buyer's agent, well, okay, how much monthly payment can your buyer afford? Okay. And once you have and how much down payment money do they have? How much down payment does that buyer have? Again, calling on the reverse prospecting, and how much monthly payment can they afford? On the other end of that, as Jacob kind of opened the can of worms on the discussion, it is 100% deployable right now to have what we call modern brokerage, modern real estate, creative real estate conversations. Sellers are open, and we're talking about both buyers and sellers. Sellers are open to creative strategies. They're not going to ignore you when their home can't get sold because their brother who does 2 deals a year is going to list it for sale and get 10 offers. They know they need to be open to listening, and they are. I trust you because these are my favorite types of conversations. And I know some of other, Jacob, for example, as well. So when you're reverse prospecting, if you get a no on the property you're reverse prospecting about, and you're doing the cross-selling idea of collecting the data and information of what are you working on and what buyers do you have, seller, what needs do you, what are your buyer and seller needs, you're able to take that information back to your camp and find, let's say you're working with sellers that have flexibility and all they need to, and they're willing to give maybe trade terms or time in exchange for getting a price they want. So I'll let Jacob jump into this more because I know it's one of his favorite topics too. But we're talking about deploying the creative real estate conversation. I'm going to match your buyer's monthly payment and down payment possibilities with the flexibility that I know that these sellers have, and put a deal via a deal, a transaction engineer, right? And put deals together that way.
So I tell this to all of our team members, all the mentees that I work with, like, you need to know the foundational structures of like five different structures, right? You need to know how to do a traditional real estate sale, buy and sell on the MLS, which everybody knows how to do. That's 95% of real estate, right? In the residential market. Great. Everybody knows how to do that. You need to know the basic operations of seller financing, right? How does seller financing work? How do you explain that to a client? You need to know lease options. You need to know loan assumptions, and you need to know loan wraps or subject to. Like, you have to have the basic foundation, because like you're saying, Julie, like, then solutions are everywhere. And back to your point, Ty, it's like, if we go to a solutions-based, relationships-based, solve the problem-based conversation, like, those are really easy to solve when you have those 5 frameworks of options, right? If you have those frameworks, you'd be like, oh, actually, we could do seller financing and make it work for everybody if we do this one thing. So if you just know the basic frameworks of those 5 structures, life gets way more interesting as a broker.
And one thing also is, I like to keep it simple, where you can say to a seller, you can say, tell me what your goal sell price is, right? You're going to learn their story. Is it a want or is it a need? Break it down between a want and a need. Once they tell you what that number is, you can literally say to them, let me tell you 3 ways on how to achieve that, right? If you know different strategies on how to put deals together, you can literally reverse engineer into how to put it together. And same
Yeah.
thing on the buyer side, right? What
Yeah.
are your resources? How much down payment can you afford? How many monthly payment can you afford? Now let me go as a educated broker and let me shop for a fit for those opportunities, thinking and including not just what's listed on the MLS, but some of the creative strategies as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, those are great. And those are the fundamentals and the foundation that everybody needs to start learning and start building and putting that in their toolbox, right? But right now, I think what's most important is, and everybody is asking this question, right? And I think this is a good time to talk about it, is how are you running your business so that you're getting more buyers and more sellers to create the income? Because we all know the market has slowed down substantially. So let's kind of, you know, wrap it up. We have like 5 minutes left. And I think a lot of agents who are on here, and including myself, right? What are we doing right now to get more buyers and more sellers off the fence and in the car, listing appointments and buyer appointments every week? So I'll start with you, Lance, because I know you're a buyer's agent in the beginning, and then now you've built this business. What are you doing today, right, to help you get more buyers and more listings appointments?
So if you notice, if you ever wake up in the morning and one of the first things you turn on is the TV, and you turn it on and you hear the world is doom and gloom, right? So we start our day off in fear, right? So one of the biggest things that I looked at is if everybody is starting their day in fear of interest rates, fear of war, fear of oil, fear of all this stuff, right? You've started your day with a big old jolt of anxiety. So what can we do there? It's our job and my job going out and talking to these sellers and buyers to build excitement, right? How can we build excitement? The only way you build excitement with each person is getting to know them and know what their goals are, right? So is their fear more interest rates and maybe it'll come back down later? Well, let's ask that question and find that. Well, the great thing is, no matter what, if it was low interest rates or high interest rates, they're always fluctuating. That house stays the same, right? So the house and the excitement of where you're going stays the same, which goes into, I know we've all heard this, you know, date the rate, marry the house, right? So we kind of play that in a bunch of, okay, why are you excited to go buy a house? If we're talking just strictly buyers right now, why are you excited to go buy that house? Oh, well, we just found out that my wife's pregnant. Oh, neat. She's not. This is not an announcement. But, oh, we just found out my wife's pregnant. Oh, so you need that extra room because you don't want the other kids bunking up with the same kid, right? You know, you might have a boy and a girl. They need different rooms, right? A lot of different things will factor in. So then you breed in the excitement of why they're going. Oh, my goodness, this house would be perfect. It's already pink for your little girl that's coming out, you know? So you build that excitement. They take their mind off of that fear that was implemented into them that morning, or just over interest rates in general, and they get to see the life that they get to build versus the interest rate of today, right? And then you go into talking about, you know, just your 2-1 buy downs, everything like that with your closing costs from a seller. You can get into the logistics with them, but if you can build that excitement and get them in the car, it's done from there. Because, and it's not a tactic of let me sell you this. It's I know this is important to you, so let me help you find that. And I think we all forget a little bit that when people tell us a lot of these personal things that they tell us, I mean, we're almost therapists without, you know, having the degree. When they tell us these exciting and in some cases devastating things that are going on in their life, they're entrusting us to go help them further their life. And this sale doesn't stop with today's closing, right? We're selling them this house or selling their house for the 7-year goal that they might have. You know, they might get into this particular property because the prices are better, but it's the actual school zone that they want to be in, right? It's that school that they want to be in when their kid is 5 and their kid is 0 right now. You know, and we got to take that into account on this relationship part and build that excitement of this is why we're going to look. We're not just buying all willy-nilly, you know. So if we can build excitement, I think that's key.
I think what you're doing there is just, you're zooming out on the big picture,
Mhm.
right? The big picture, it's like, don't worry, like, if you can afford the payment, great. Get into the big picture, build your life, right? Build your life,
Exactly.
not your fear.
A life is much more exciting than money.
Build your life. I like that one.
That's a
Yeah.
good one. I like that.
How about don't stop building your life, right?
Uh-huh.
Don't stop building your life.
Don't
Yeah.
stop.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh, you guys. So tell me in the chat, guys, have you loved this conversation? I've got pages of notes now. Oh my gosh, this was so wonderful. Say yes in the chat if you've absolutely been loving this discussion with these guys. I'm telling you, we have, great info, great convo. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You guys are just so, was this fun for you guys?
It's a blast.
Yeah, I love it.
I just leave this running in the background. I've got more to ask Lance over here.
I know. Lance, what's the oil price? What's the oil price today, Lance?
Oh, good Lord. I don't know today, but I know it was hovering around 84 the other day. So everybody's
Yeah.
happy as it stays in the 80s. But they learned how to keep making money if it goes down to 40 again. So we're all right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Okay, so let's go ahead. We've just got a few minutes left. Let's go ahead and open it up for some questions. Robin, did we have any questions come up while we were in our chat here?
Nothing that I saw.
Okay, awesome. And one thing, I had a couple of.
Oh, wait, there was one. How to
Okay,
reach
go.
millennials.
Oh, I can answer that one
Okay,
real quick. Millennials are all online. So you got to get online. I mean, they're all over social media. And even if you don't have a listing, right? I've seen other millennials do this online. They're posting other people's listings, right? And if you want more buyers right now, what you do is you post and say, hey, this is a perfect first-time home buyer property. It's in, near all the shopping malls, all of the transit station, right? Because they're all working from home, most of them, right? So you're posting stuff that it's not even yours, but you're out there hunting for them, right? You're touring properties on your phone. They're watching you 24/7. You just don't know it. So those are the things that you need to do. Reach out to my guy, Michael Hudson. He's on here. He's my video mastermind. He creates all my videos. And I've gotten so many followers on that. You guys have to get online and really post. And if you don't have deals, post other people's deals. I've seen people put out, this is a perfect rental property. Buy a multi-family, live in one, rent out the other.
so there is a little method to that madness. So first of all, double check with your designated broker if you can do that in your state, because we got people from all 50 states inside of our group. So that is important. Having said that, I've seen it like I used to do this all the time. I would find an amazing house and all I would do is I'd post it and I would comment, you can't wait for you to see this kitchen. Or I say, this backyard is gorgeous. All I had to do, just like this little comment. And then everyone thought I was like listing everything when it wasn't even my listing. So I
think a really good, like to Ty's point about posting properties, I'm finding at least here out in the Pacific Northwest with all our tech worker, millennial types, co-living. This house is perfect for co-living, right? I'm closing one today with that whole thing, tech worker. She's closing on it. She has money, but she's moving in all her friends into the setup of the house is ripe for co-working. That's how people are going to save money these days. It's a good buzz message for right now.
beautiful.
Do you find one social media is better than another?
Right now I see more millennials on Instagram and TikTok. They are less on Facebook. Lots of stories. They're on stories all the time. And if you don't want to bombard them with 10 posts a day, they're there watching your story. And you could tell who's watching. I'm very intuitive of who's watching my story. And if I know it's a buyer or someone that is considering moving, I'll see that they watched it and I'll just text them on Messenger. It's like, hey, thought about you when I saw this house. Thought about you when I saw this one with the ADU in the back, right? Now I am the only person that's in their head, nobody else. It's better than a magnet on the fridge.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Looks like there's another question for you guys here. Or what are you doing to get more listings? The reverse prospecting. Can you explain that again, Ty?
Okay, so reverse prospecting is if I had a client and is looking in the community in, say, Seattle, in downtown Seattle, and I've created a search for that person in downtown Seattle and their price point. All that search goes into their portal. Reverse prospecting shows you all the agents who have buyers in that pocket. And you can pull all those agents' data, right? And then email them your listing and say, hey, we've been on market for 45 days. We're willing to give you guys a $25,000 concession before we make a price adjustment to buy down that rate. So that's how I use reverse prospecting. And, you know, normally I'll call them too, because you could tell how many times that person hearted or liked that property. This happened to me about 14 years ago when an agent called me. It was like, hey, Ty, I saw your client was on my reverse prospecting and they liked this house. I'm like, what? I was in shock. I didn't even know. And then so I was like, oh my God, this is a gold mine. I need to do this too. That, you know, I gave kudos to that agent. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. They knew before I knew. And so that's what I did. And it creates more activity onto your listing, and deals happen all the time because of it.
Awesome. We have time for probably 2 more questions, guys.
I see Chris Rezak's question there about millennials on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you're just getting started, I would just go nuts on reels, create reels.
Mhm.
Those are getting traction right now. If you're putting out good content, I would keep the videos short and informative, or like fun and showy, right? If there's like a crazy kitchen you want to show off, like keep it nice and short. Instagram reels, that's working pretty well, as well as just being really interactive and giving good advice. You know, short little clips of yourself, either on job sites or wherever it is that's informative, short, and on reels. That's a good way to get some reach.
Yeah. And I would say do reels that are meaningful to you. You know, like if you like what you're doing, then do it. And then people will naturally follow you. I would shy away from doing reels that look pretty on the outside world and it doesn't emulate you. Is that the word? Is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
But
stick to your core competencies, right? And what you know, what you like.
It needs to be relatable to you, right?
Yeah.
Like I do reels and I do videos on investment and house hacking because that's my jam. You know, I love walking into ugly houses. I love like houses that smell bad or, you know, look like it's, you know, it's falling apart. I love that.
They don't smell bad. They smell like money, Ty. That's it.
Yeah, that's money. I don't do a lot of like really luxury $10 million homes. It's not that I'm not able to. It's just I'm not as passionate about it as my fix and flip. And when I get there, I will. But you know what I mean? Just do things that are true to you. And eventually the people will just flock you because they feel your vibe. They feel like they know you because of that.
Jam.
You know, one thing I would add to that, the majority of my business, almost all of it is Facebook, TikTok, Instagram driven. So I'm very kind of touchy on all that kind of stuff. And by touchy, I mean, those are the people that I reach out and touch and grab in. I go by the 80-20 rule, right? So I put 80% my family and fun things and things that are trending, and I put 20% business. So they're constantly coming back and having fun and laughing, you know, at certain things. And then boom, there's something real fun about a house, not just a, hey, here's a video tour. That's not fun. You know, cool. We've all seen a sink. But right. the 80-20 rule of building what's trending right now and going into a business on top of that. And then all of a sudden they think that you have all the business.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I know.
There you go, guys. Thank you guys so much. You have been so extraordinary. So Robin just put in the chat all of the contact information from these amazing panelists. grab that, guys. If you got some good nuggets from these guys, reach out to them. I got good nuggets from all of you, so I'll be reaching out to every single one of you. Great fun on that. They have been extraordinary. Hey, everybody, do a little emoji on applause, will you, in the chat? That would be awesome. Hey, Jen, we'll get back with you on that. I am so sorry we did not get your questions about getting more listings. I know we talked about it quite a bit in our session, but that'll be our next one. That certainly is a module inside of our program. Okay, can I share some really cool news?
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
share. So
Yes.
excited. So next Wednesday, we will not be having our weekly Wednesday webinar because I will be the keynote speaker at the 2023 Business Planning for Real Estate's national event for Fairway Independent Mortgage. So exciting. I'm really going to be talking about understanding and knowing your numbers, specifically from a production standpoint and how you do that. So that is going to be next Wednesday from 1 to 2 Central Time. Look at Lance, I just put it in your central time zone. Yay for us. You can scan this QR code. Make sure you do that. Would love to see it. We will be posting this again on our Facebook group. Now, another thing, guys, there's a lot of really great stuff that you guys got out of today. A lot of the things that we talked about, we do have inside of our 12 Weeks to Breakthrough program. That is a program for experienced agents, and it is all about training and coaching. Ty Nguyen is one of our amazing
I'm
coaches.
your coach.
Yay, she's awesome. So reach out. If you want to know more about that program, you just go to program-overview.breakthroughre.net. And you can read Ty's bio and all of our other folks, and they're extraordinary. So check that out. And by the way, I do this every single day. I do complimentary strategy business consultations with agents every single day. If you're thinking you might really like to just chat about your business, what's going on in your business, maybe even want to know more about the programs that we offer, help you double, triple your business, wouldn't that be awesome? Scan this QR code. You can get on my Calendly and we will get together. Awesome. And that is complimentary, by the way, so you can do that. And then finally, if you are new here and you haven't joined our Facebook group, we would love to have you join our Facebook group. It is all about breaking through. And that's at facebook.com/groups/breakthroughre. Guys, you're so awesome. Thank you again so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for Weekly Wednesday webinar. We'll see you at the event next Wednesday. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Good luck, all.
Bye.
See you later.